So Michael's going to talk to us tonight about online events. You ready to go, Mike?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Cool.
So,
share away.
A while back, Donna and I actually started doing online events like every Wednesday and Tuesday. So we started promoting the Team Destiny event. We found that the first step is to actually do the invite. Because it doesn't help if you have the event that day if you haven't invited anybody, because nobody will turn up to it. But it's always good practice. Even if nobody does turn up, it's always good practice. You can actually go over exactly what you want to say. We've also come down to the point where, I say as well, Shen. If you can't do it online, that you can't do at a live event, then there's no actual point in trying to do it, because then it's not duplicatable for your download team. So the easiest way we've found is just keep it as simple as possible. So the way we've always broken it down is within the first 15 minutes of an online event or an actual event is all product based. So it comes back to explaining the products, the fruit, veg, and berries. The fantastic new Amigas that we now have as well, and also going into the complete shakes and explaining a little bit about the chews and why they are so much better for children than all this lovely natural whey stuff I've seen being plugged so fantastically on TV at the moment. It's not funny. It just does my head in with that crap that they put all over the TV, and people think that it's actually better for their kids than doing Juice Plus. The funniest thing that I've found so far is open-ended questions are always the best way to actually do any type of event, meaning questions that you can't answer yes or no. So, for example, a perfect one that we've usually opened up with is, what can $500 to $1,000 mean for you every month? Because that result will never get you a yes or a no. It will always get you, it will mean more travel or more time with family, cutting back on work. So then it actually allows you to target what type of areas you actually want to take your event into at the time. You can focus more on those type of questions with the people than actually just running with the event, which is something I've done in the past, and it gets pretty repetitive and kind of boring after a while. But if you can actually focus on why people have turned up to the event, and usually a good question as well as at the beginning, just let them know that it is just an event for them to have a look at. They don't have to sign up to anything, because a lot of people sometimes get wary when they get invited to online events because they think there's always going to be a catch in it. So if you can put their mind at ease, I found at the very beginning of the event, and just say, look, it's just information that will relate to you. It might relate to you. It could be something that you will be interested in. Then again, it's perfectly fine if you're not interested in it as well. But at the end of the event, you can always follow up with them as well. So it's always good to go back and actually ask more questions on what drew them into the event in the first place. I've also found a great person to actually listen to is Eric Worre when it comes to actually doing online events. The guy's the master when it comes to MLM. So it's basically doing a lot of open-ended questions, using the correct wording. But we also go into, when we do an online event, on what the person that actually is there is really wanting, like trying to find their why. Because sometimes it's something simple like just having an extra, $200 to $300 a month, which is fine, because sometimes that does just help pay the bills, and that's sometimes what people are after. But then you have the other end of the spectrum as well, and people just want to change their entire lifestyle. It's not only just their health. I actually had one person that I've signed up as a customer. She signed up for the simple fact is she wanted to help her mum, which was perfectly fine. I didn't have a problem with it all. And she has been on the product before, so she knew exactly what it was like. So she's been trying to convince her mum to take them regularly. So hopefully it has been going well. I've been following up with her occasionally just to find out. But online events are one of the easiest ways. Either doing it as a live will sometimes get you all. than actually doing it on a Zoom as well. Zooms are good because you can actually get people to ask questions, but on a live, you get the questions right there and then, and people actually start getting a little bit more involved. And they can jump in and out as well as the Zoom as well. And there's no designated time period, I found, with a live as well. So you can actually go for quite a period of time if you need to. But I found 30 minutes is the longest that you really need to go, because you can cover both products and the business in that period of time. And I've found with doing the actual business side of the actual event, no more than an SC level, because then it gets a little bit confusing. You lose people quite drastically because they start not figuring out what's going on. The compensation plan is too hard to get involved in at that level, and
too much.
It's too much for them. So I've always done it to an SC level, because SC is very teachable for anybody that actually gets into the business, and it's the highest level that we still get paid at commission. So the good thing about it is when you teach people to be SCs, it's like creating those SDVF machines. They just keep going, because that's all it is SC is just 3 SDFs. That's all you just keep teaching. Mm-hmm. And before you know it, everybody's at SC and you're at NMD and you're partying with the rest of us. Because that's the best way to do it. Unless you get one of those. Well, that's true. Unless you get one of those services with the big picture vision. And then it's, 100 club, 200 club, 300 club. I've never gone into a meeting, especially online, and explained club levels. Because club levels you start losing track of where you want the actual meeting to go, because then it focuses more on a money basis and not an actual lifestyle basis. It was what we're actually more after than actually, the money does help, but the money also helps create the lifestyle. And I think if we can actually produce a better style of life than a better income, because the two go in hand, but if you focus more on the lifestyle, a lot of people are more interested on what they can possibly get in the long run than what they can actually have right now. I mean, we always want the money, and the bonuses do help, but if you're getting paid like $5,000 to $1,000 a month, that lifestyle drastically changes. I mean, when Tammy and I first started, we still haven't hit that level yet, but the money that does come in, it allows us date nights every month, which is what we really look forward to, which sometimes are what everybody's after. They just want one break every month to get away from the kids so they can have time for themselves. Yes, Tammy and I don't have kids. We have a small fluffy one who's currently kicked outside because he was naughty. But when we did have were living with the girls, it allowed us time to actually get away. And that was one of our biggest things that we look forward to every month was, we can get out of the house and actually go out, and there's somebody jumping around in the background. But it's always good for an online event to always follow up at the end of the actual meeting, I found as well, because that way you know exactly who was on with you. You can actually relate straight back to them, because especially if they've commented on what's going on during the meeting as well, you can actually go back and answer the questions directly with them. And then probably if it was something along the lines of with the bonus structure and the levels, you can get into a more in-depth conversation and you can book your next meeting with them. Because as they say, the follow-up is the most important thing. Because if you don't follow up, then you lose them. But I've always found keeping it short is probably one of the better ways to do it, because even though 30 minutes doesn't seem like a long time to get it out, it gives you enough time for you to imprint in their brain not only what the products can do, but what the business can do. And it leaves them wanting to ask more questions, which is why we always follow up at the end of it. There's that lovely word again. Short and simple. Easiest way. Any questions? Question time? No questions?
No, that was awesome, Mark.
It's got a question?
We actually, you just reminded me of something you said that reminded me of Angela and I's event today, and how we took a slightly different approach and sort of getting back to our presenting our events how we like to. We've had a bit of a break from doing them in that way, just sort of for a while, but we're back, got our mojo back. And one of the things, how I put it to the group of ladies today, which I think resonated with them really well, instead of I think sometimes we can feel threatened because we aren't, say, because we aren't NMD yet, for example, or we aren't getting the income from this yet that we desire to. We can almost feel like we don't have the right to explain to them how wonderful something is. Like, I don't know, you can feel threatened by that, if you know what I mean. And so we're like, no, that's rubbish. But so it was nice to be able to actually break it down today and go, yeah, so what? Not a raging millionaire yet, but we will be one day. Don't worry about that. But at this point in time, even though I've been in this business a long time, but these are the things that I've got out of it in the way of actual money, money value, and sort of describe to the ladies there literally what I had gained from my Juice Plus savings over the years in terms of actual things, such as whatever, things I wouldn't normally afford, like a trip to Melbourne to see my best friend, or concert tickets and all those, treats that you'd never afford with your normal income. And so when we laid it down like that, I don't know, it worked a lot better today by doing that, I think, because it seemed so much more realistic to them just than this scam that we're trying to tell them they could get millions out of, because it was so much more realistic to them. It reminded me.
I also found when doing your online events as well, even if you just explain, like I usually include both my health story from Juice Plus since being on it, and what the business has done for us, like our business story as well. It's only short because everybody's different on what the business means for them and what Juice Plus has done for them. But in saying that as well, it helps them to actually relate in some way as well. Because, I mean, everybody, especially me at the moment, I'm seriously, absolutely hating 40-hour weeks at work at the moment. It's doing my head in. But you can sort of relate to people when, like when Tammy and I, our last overseas trip to Europe was absolutely phenomenal, because it was like 2 weeks of just driving around from Wales all the way up to London. A lot of people didn't realise that you could possibly do it and not really have to worry about where the extra money is going to be coming from, because you have that monthly deposit coming through as well. But with the health journey, it's always good just to let them know what it's done for you, because sometimes they do relate back. Especially for somebody like me, that's my size. A lot of guys that I've talked to about it, they're dads that have kids and sort of have the dad bod, as it's now called. So they're always looking for some way to help improve their health, so they actually have longer time with their kids and can keep up with them. I mean, Tyson's now getting on to 6. He's a little rocket when he wants to go off, so it's a bit hard to try and keep up with him. But I mean, if I was still doing exactly what I was doing 4 years ago and not actually taking Juice Plus, there's no way I'd be keeping up. I'd be sitting on the lounge and telling him to go off and do his own thing. But now we can quite easily keep up with him, which is the best thing about it. And that's what we love the most, is when we do take him out to actually go to like St. Clair, which is a massive playground area for him, we can keep up with him. Whereas before, it wouldn't have happened. We would have found a nice little shady spot and told him to go play and kept an eye on him so he doesn't get into trouble.
That's awesome. You have to use that story more online, Mike.
That idea.
I think that's what it comes down to, isn't it? It's reminding everyone why we are here and relating it to everyone, because it is a product that can help everyone, whether it is the product or the money side of it. It can help everyone, and I think we forget that.
Definitely.